From Studio 1A in Tampa, Florida, comes a talk show that really feels your pain and tells you like it is. We love America and all that freedom-loving Americans want to protect. Live from coast to coast and on your radio, it's For the People with Keith Allen.
We'll help you survive this thing called life. We're for the people. Whatever your source of stress or strife, for the people is there.
Hello, Mr. and Mrs. America. I am Keith Allen and proudly welcoming you to this Monday's edition of For the People for the July 3rd weekend. It's 4th of July weekend. Some of you are still working and some of you are traveling, which is a great thing. Be careful out there. A lot of people taking to the skies and to the roads. Gas is cheaper than it normally has been from years past. So AAA has said a lot of people doing the millions hitting the road, as a matter of fact, and just, again, give yourself a little extra room in case somebody actually breaks out there. You know how people are, so just be mindful of all those particular things. You might be the safe driver. It's always the case, right? But it's the other people, right? Just give them a little room, breathing room, and you don't like people trailing you. I don't know why people do that. Right on the bumper. I know you want them to move, but it usually irritates people where they actually put on their brake. There's been studies. People study this stuff for a living. The Department of Transportation does this. It aggravates them, so they go slower, and it aggravates you, raises your blood pressure. So don't do that. So usually, if you back off for a little bit and then flash your lights occasionally, not erratically. I've seen the erratic blinking, and that really just sets people off. I don't know. There's a lot of loose cannons out on the roads, in case you've noticed. Hopefully you're not one of them that has road rage. Some people admit it, that they have it. It can be very dangerous when you do have it. You're better off taking a deep breath, getting in the slow lane, and putting on a great song or something like that. Murphy's Law applies everywhere. When you're running late, you got to be somewhere. There's always going to be somebody that's not in a hurry. And we got to let them know, right? All right. So just be careful out there. That's the bottom line here on this 4th weekend. I'm going to be in the studio, by the way, tomorrow. So we're going to be live. We're going to have patriotic music, little nostalgia, little information about our country, things that, factoids, things you knew, things you probably didn't know, or a refresher for some of you out there. If you're a history buff, you'll love tomorrow's program. And if you just love history, you don't even have to be a buff. You love this country. I mean, what's it, 241? It's a bunch of years that we've been around, and God, we hope to be around a whole lot longer. We want this country to be free. By the way, Reba, we're going to be hearing a new song from her, which is just absolutely fantastic, and you'll see how Reba's new song, actually, Reba McEntire, that is, her song will fit in this half hour. President Donald Trump, the G20 in Poland, but talking with China, and it's a mess. And we're going to be talking about all of that. But the first story right now, it has to do with Trump's tweet. It's a video. If you haven't seen it, it's showing him beating up a man with a CNN logo posted over his face as an incitement of violence, says CNN. That's what they're saying. It incites violence against the media, according to a CNN contributor, Anna Navarro. And she said Sunday, this is unacceptable. Navarro on ABC's This Week, where she was a member of the roundtable discussion. She says, as the president of the United States, he is taking things way too far. It's an incitement to violence. He's going to get somebody killed in the media. Maybe that will stop him. Maybe it'll stop CNN from running fake news. I know they run fake news. They just fired 3 other analysts, and they only did that. They only did that because there was egg on their face. Now it's not Russia they're talking about right now. It's talking about Donald Trump in the ring with CNN. it was tongue in cheek completely because everybody knows. Well, not everybody, but most people know the professional quote unquote. I'm doing air quotes here in the studio. You can't see me, but it's fake. It's a show. That's the whole deal with professional wrestling. It's funny. It's the antics, blah, 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 back and forth. Trump, again's got the narrative. Now, I realize for many traditionalists out there in our country, even in the Republican Party, could be in the Tea Party, you're saying this is an embarrassment. President shouldn't partake in this, shouldn't do this. Well, Donald Trump was a wrestler. He wrestled before. He knows something about it. But don't you think that Donald Trump has been wrestling the media? Don't you think there's been this wrestling match that's been going on with the liberal media and Trump, the liberal media and middle America? It is a tug of war. It's a war going on between the two. I think the analogy is great. If CNN was actually just Boy Scouts and doing their job, who, what, why, where, and when, and did not have the snark remarks and what they say, it's as if all of them are clinicians. They're all super psychiatrists. They're able to prescribe medication because we have an unhinged president. No, we don't have an unhinged president. We have an untraditional president. We had one that we've never had before in such a manner like this. But the age that we live, the age we live is different. There's a lot of things that are different. Take Twitter, for instance. Take the internet. It's the speed of now that you can go on and just say things and do things. And Donald Trump is able to still perform his job duties. He's able to still do it in the midst of all of the stuff that's going on. He's still able to counter it, and he's still fighting this war. It's a culture war. It's a media war. It's a war, ladies and gentlemen, quite honest with you, it's a war against conservative values. And Donald Trump is hitting them hard. They don't like it a bit. They hate it that he's winning. He won the election fair and square, and he's still winning through the media today. He's a genius. I subscribe to the very notion that he is. He's using it against them, and they're taking it hook, line, and sinker. Does Donald Trump not get irritated with the fake news? And do you think that he would really use this and do this, these particular things, and preoccupy his time so much as he apparently does, if they were telling the truth about what was going on? And especially because of the 4th, and celebrating our independence, that there would be so much more positive news, more patriotic things about all the things that Donald Trump says about our country making it great again and the things that he's doing for our veterans, etc. But no, they got to get into this heated argument. I want you to hear it because you got to hear the back and forth of ABC, because a lot of you just don't have time to listen. And good thing you're not really missing a whole lot. But this is kind of like, it's kind of like the same crap that you'd see on CNN. But there's really not a whole lot of difference between CNN and ABC, CBS, NBC. They're all the same. They're all the same. So here we go. Here's on ABC. And this is their little roundtable discussion that they've had. Here it is.
And we're back now with the roundtable. And I have a feeling you guys are going to have a little different comments than Tom Bossert had about that GIF. Let's look at it again. This happened just as we were ending our other roundtable. Okay, Anna, I got to start with you.
I'm a CNN commentator. I think that is unacceptable. I think that is the President of the United States taking things way too far. It is an incitement to violence. He is going to get somebody killed in the media. Maybe that will stop him. I am disappointed beyond belief by the answer that the Homeland Security advisor just gave. What a wuss. What a wuss. You could see that he is ceding his principles. You are the Homeland Security advisor and you can't stand here and say the difference between right and wrong. That's what's part of the problem. He is surrounded by enablers that do nothing but shake their heads and nod their heads in agreement with everything that he says.
Okay, wait, let me just shut you down just for a second. Enablers? Enablers. Your paycheck, ma'am, comes from screaming liberals that tell you to do what you're doing right now. If you had a conservative bone in your body, you would not be having this type of discussion, but you're on a liberal news media. You're biased to begin with. You hate Donald Trump to begin with. You hate Donald Trump. And by the way, pro wrestling, let me reiterate, is not real. It's a tongue-in-cheek against CNN fake news, because that's what it is. It's the Fake News Network, FNN. It's been renamed. It's the Fake News Network. And that's what in the world he's talking about. Okay? But a lot of people, apparently, they don't get tongue-in-cheek. They don't get any of this stuff in here. I think Donald Trump wants to incite violence. Really? We could talk about inciting violence with Trayvon Martin and the reaction of the President of the United States and his Attorney General that was very lame-o, and being able to give the police what they needed to be able to do their jobs, and inciting violence all over the country with race baiting. But come on, let's not mention any of this stuff. Come on, honey. Get real. But let's listen to a little bit more.
They have got to stop. They have got to stand for democracy, for freedom of the press.
That's not standing for democracy. The freedom of the press, you're doing it. You're able to report Donald Trump didn't shut you down. He just tweeted. Democracy is still going on. You're running your mouth. CNN runs the fake news stories. All they want to do, people watch it. Dwindling audience, interesting audience that CNN, in fact, has. But Navarro's comments are unbelievable, folks. This is the left. Now he's calling them the Fraud News Network instead of the fake news. Trump didn't comment on the video, by the way, thus far, but labeled it with two hashtags at Fraud News CNN and hashtag FNN. So if you're looking for the video, you want to see it. It's kind of interesting. It is. It is. But let the ladies let the ladies talk over at ABC. Let's hear a little bit more.
This is just going way too far. The President of the United States is inciting violence against the free press. And America, we cannot stand for it.
I mean, it is just kind of theater of the absurd, right? I don't think any of us would have thought that this is something that any president would do. But in particular, it just comes, as you mentioned, right after the shooting of Steve Scalise. Republicans and Democrats said it's time to take the rhetoric down a notch. And this
Wait a second. Shut up. Shut up. Shakespeare in the Park? Where were you when that was inciting violence, where they were doing an assassination right on the stage in Central Park? You ignoramus. Kathy Gifford with the head severed. Donald Trump. Where was your outrage? There was no blood. There was no severed heads. Give me folks, you got to see this. You got to hear this. This is the lunacy of the left, folks. In action. I don't even know if they hear themselves talking. I don't even think they understand, they comprehend what it is, the things that they do or don't do. It's just spewing more of this lunacy. It really is. I swear you got to hand out medication. All right, continue. I am so sorry for interrupting you.
Do that.
And everyone that we spoke to on the Hill right after that incident said the president was actually quite good on that stage. He was reassuring. He called for the country to get together. He gave a really good speech and visited the hospital to see Steve Scalise. And now this. Listen, I know a lot of people who work for CNN who have to be scared and wondering why the president has decided to physically pummel somebody with the CNN.
Oh, my God. Here we go. Physically tumbled. As if he actually did this. For real. Physically. It was in a video. Just like fake wrestling is in a video. Oh, my dear God.